Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. And we're here today with special guest, Jenny Garufi, who's here to share with us her new book, Soulful Alchemy, Transformative Poems for the Soul. So are you looking for daily inspiration to majorly transform your life? Well, today's guest is going to share with us just that. So Jenny Garufi emerged from a healing experience that dissolved 7 years of illness in just 3 weeks, which sparked her profound life purpose. Jenny is an internationally acclaimed author, speaker, teacher, and healer. She empowers individuals with accessible tools, fostering self-love and self-worth, while dismantling obstacles to attract aligned relationships and life circumstances. In her latest book, Soulful Alchemy, Jenny offers readers inspiration and a way to connect more deeply. Her work with Self-Worth Now is helping many to reclaim their self-worth so they can live their lives to their fullest potential. So welcome to the show, Jenny Garufi.
Thank you so much for having me here, Marianne. I'm so excited to be with you.
Oh my goodness, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this new book. I got to tell you, once I picked this up and started reading, it so touched my heart. I did not want to put it down. Why don't you share with us what was your inspiration for writing Soulful Alchemy?
Well, I've always written poems. It's been a part of how I processed emotions, a part of gifts that I give to people. I write poems for people's birthdays and things like that. And poems just come through me. And I've done this since I was, I think, like 5 years old. So it's a part of my life. And I hadn't thought about publishing a book on them because it's just such an intimate part of my life. But I've experienced that when I gave them to clients, they would really say that they helped them heal. And a friend of mine, a fellow author, said, "Hey, Jenny, don't you have a lot of these? Like, you're always writing. Why don't you look and see how many you have? Maybe you can publish them." And when I went and looked, I had over 40 poems I'd written in the last few years. And I said, you know what? That's a great idea. Why don't I publish these? So it felt a little vulnerable because, a lot of these are very personal, but I know that they do help people. So I wanted to get them out there.
These poems are so soul-touching. Do you have to get into a particular space in order to write them?
It's really inspired. I'll be in the shower, an idea will come with me, or driving in the car, or it can be in any moment. But I know when I get those few words, I have to sit and write. And the poems will usually come through me within 10 to 20 minutes. When I sit down to try to write a poem, if it's on my own, it doesn't come. It really has to come like naturally through me. And, when my left brain gets involved and wants to analyze and edit it, that's, the harder part, because really it's just being in that flow and letting it come through me.
You really touch on topics like love, loss, resilience, and renewal. Was there a reason why these topics were so important for you?
Yeah, I just know that a lot of people struggle, most people struggle with self-worth and self-love and the challenges in life. We face so much, and we're not given guidebooks to how to get through this. We could read self-help books, but it is such a challenging journey to get over the grief of losing a loved one, to feel the challenges of the world and feel maybe disconnected, but wanting to feel connected. So I just wanted to let people know that they do have this connection to this highest version of themselves, this ultimate wisdom, and just the ability to be kinder and more compassionate to themselves. And I feel like some of these poems really grant that, almost like that permission, that awareness, like, oh, other people feel like this too. And, oh, I can use these tools and I can tap into this part of me. And hopefully it just gives some relief and introspection.
So how should we use Soulful Alchemy?
There are a couple ways. You can just open it and hit a page and know that that's the poem you're supposed to read. You can also look through the table of contents and See, maybe a topic, maybe it's about sisters and brothers and oneness that you want to read about, or maybe you're going through a tough time with grief and you want to read about grief or self love, or if you want to learn about the chakras, you can turn to those chapters. There's no real right or wrong way. I know a couple of my clients have said they've gone front to back, and that's fine too. So it really is, I want people to take their own personal journey with the book.
So, will this book help people with their own inner transformation and personal growth?
Absolutely. There's one poem in here in particular, The Observer Your Soul, where it really just talks about how we're hard on ourselves, how we're always judging, and really can grant someone some inner peace and calm. The Sisters and Brothers poem is really about a lot of what's going on right now, how there's so much separation, how we can feel that oneness. So I really do feel like there are a lot of poems in here that can really add to that introspection and give tools to move forward and feel a little gentler with oneself and a little more confident moving forward.
I like that you start your book with gratitude, and especially the first poem. Gratitude opens doors that were right there all along. It changes your focus from lack, allowing you to feel strong. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Thank you. Gratitude's such an important part of life. And I know it can be really challenging when we're in challenges to feel that gratitude. We're naturally programmed. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, when you ask someone how they're doing, most times they go to what's the worst thing going on in their life. If you still watch the news, the first story is the most horrific, and that keeps us in our just disempowered state. And when we move to gratitude, we can feel really empowered. We can feel like, you know what, there are always things to be grateful for. There's beautiful things in life. There's the sun shining outside. There's my comfy bed. There's the fact that I have warm water. There's the fact that I have loving relationships in my life, or I have a really sweet pet that loves snuggles. Like, there's always things to be grateful for, but it really is that conscious reminder. We need to remind ourselves over and over again to return to that gratitude. It's not a natural state of being to us. It really is. The more we return to gratitude, the more we really invite more beauty and love and joy and things to be grateful for into our lives.
Now, I know you work with so many people. Are you seeing that with the folks that you work with when they start in this place of gratitude? They're really having this transformation.
Absolutely. And I say that is my number one tool that helped me to heal physically. When you're ill, you become very concentrated on the parts of your body that are not working. And instead of giving gratitude, we take it for granted. Oh, we're going to wake up and our body is just supposed to do all these, tons of systems for us. And we're not even going to give it gratitude. And for anything else, for anyone else doing something for us, we would give gratitude. So even when we return to gratitude for our body, even in the shower, just saying some gratitude for our body, it really shifts the energy of it. It helped me to heal. I was paying attention to how horrible my legs felt and how much pain I was in. When I shifted my gratitude to the parts of my body that were feeling good, and even for the way my legs showed up for me, before the pain, and being there, during, and shedding love and gratitude for them, it shifted the energy and it created healing energy. And I do see that in my clients too, really shifting the focus to, especially gratitude for themselves. A lot of times we're really hard on ourselves. So one of the first things I'll have my clients do is write that list of things they're grateful for themselves for, give themselves that credit and start building themselves up instead of knocking themselves down.
Seems like so many people right now are going through different stages of grief, maybe grief in relationships, or the passing of a loved one or beloved pet, or just how we expect life to turn out and maybe it didn't, and even grief for the planet. So I know your book touches on these deeper subjects. How has your poetry helped to process these experiences for people?
Grief is, I think, the most challenging emotion because we are missing something so much. And it has helped me in writing and helped other people to really connect with the fact that grief is love. We wouldn't mourn something so much if we hadn't experienced the love of it. And to experience that love is a privilege. Yeah, I know I went through the worst grief of my life, losing my mom, because she was the best person in my life for 50 years and I loved her so dearly. So to be able to tap into that love and that remembrance grants us a little peace and also that compassion for oneself because there's no one straight way to process grief. It is a bumpy road. You can think you're over the crux of it, and you'll have a reminder trigger and start crying in the supermarket or something. It's okay. Really to have that compassion for oneself as you're going through it. And also that return to love, being really, really grateful for the love and the time that you had with that pet, with that relationship, with your loved one.
Ooh, I can't tell you how many times I've cried in the car when I'm by myself and can have that space. So I can understand when people get to this place of vulnerability or they just have to let that out.
Yeah. And it's that permission, that compassion. Of course, you're sad that, that being is no longer in your life anymore. And it's okay to be sad because sometimes you'll beat yourself up, and other people can be kind of squirrely around grief. Like some people don't know how to talk to you about it too. And that can also create other emotions. So just this deep compassion for oneself is needed over and over again.
I understand that you included a section, and I've read it and it's amazing, on the chakra system. So, why do you feel that that was a benefit for the readers?
I call the chakra system our inner diagnostic system. Again, we're not really taught how to talk to our bodies. We're just to wake up expecting it to work for us. And when things get out of balance, we're just taught to grab a Tylenol or, go to the doctor. We're really not taught to tune in and say, okay, I have a sore throat. Am I not speaking my truth about something? We're not taught the power of the chakras. And when I learned the chakra system, I just felt this deep resonance. And now when I'm out of balance, I know that I can go to it and ask my body for this information. And I like making the chakras easy. And I feel like the poems do that, make them relatable, make them easy to access and check in with yourself, and also tools to bring them back into balance because we have that power to bring them back into balance. So I wanted to offer some tools so people know how to begin to do that.
Well, I've been pretty lucky. I've known you for many years now, and I can't believe we're seeing many years because time has just been flying. But
Yeah.
I feel so blessed to have somebody as gifted and as knowledgeable as you are in my life. And so I know spirituality plays such a huge part in your writing. How is that related to this book? How has your spirituality just been with writing this book?
Yeah. Thank you, Marianne. And I appreciate our, relationship and friendship through these years so much too. And I find you such an inspiration. I'm so grateful for the work that you do. My spirituality is so important. Meditating is part of my life. I've been doing that for over 3 years now. That was one of the greatest gifts I got from my mom passing, as I kind of missed her and needed to tune in every day to just kind of connect with myself and find that love within myself because I didn't have that coming from her anymore. And that connection to self really has deepened over the last 4 years in connection to all that is. I mean, these poems come through me. They are me, but they're not me. They come through in my voice and my experience. But I do feel like there's something greater. And in particular, that poem, The Observer, Your Soul, like that came through me and really came through with that strong message of this is not just for you. This is for other people that need to hear this message. And so connecting like that is it means the world to me. It means that there's something, outside of us. We get so caught in our day-to-day challenges and, the challenges of the world, but connecting spiritually, we can feel that oneness and connection to our higher self, to other people, to other beings. And we really kind of need that in this day and age to really feel that love and connection is priceless. And that's really what spirituality is for me is feeling that love and connection and oneness.
Well, I'm not surprised that this was kind of a channeling of spirit in some ways for you. I mean, you're so gifted at the work that you do. I can see how this comes through, and it has me kind of wondering with the different poems that you've written, do people take it usually like sonnet by sonnet and just focus on that for their day?
Yeah, I have had some people say that they've printed out, different verses or printed out the whole poem and will read that throughout their day or read that to start their day. Again, I really want to make this the journey for each person is different, and however it resonates with them to, maybe they'll find that verse in the gratitude poem that they're like, wow, I could use this one every day, however it resonates with them. I want them to be able to feel free to do that, and it was interesting, as I've been going through again and rereading, there are things that I'm like, wow, I should probably be telling myself that every day again. So it's been interesting to have the printed book and to be going through it myself as well.
So, do you believe that poetry can serve as a tool for emotional and personal enlightenment?
Absolutely. It can give us those aha moments, the reflections, the real compassion and love. I mean, I feel like that is what my poems do, is really give you that deep sense of self-love and the permission to return to that compassion and embrace your soul. That connection to that unconditional love, that connection to spirit instead of the logical, egoic, disempowering mind that is repeating traumas from our past, really getting a hold of being present and appreciating how much presence can bring. And when you're reading the poem, you're getting very present and you're reading those words and you're taking those words in. And I feel like they kind of like shift your energy, help you shift your energy a little bit so that maybe you can let more love in.
We could all use a little bit of that, I'll tell you. Let more love in, and because everything right now seems so intense.
Yeah.
So to get to a place where we can focus on our personal journey, on our gratitude, on our personal enlightenment, I mean, and our emotional healing, I mean, what a big deal that is.
It is, and we all deserve that. We deserve that time. There's so many distractions. There's Netflix and there's our phones and there's the internet and YouTube, like, and TikTok. There's so many things that can just get us distracted from paying attention to us, and really listening, shutting all of that down and just tuning into us instead of just going through the motions, and I think my poems are a good way to just connect, to read them and connect and shut everything off and maybe go a little deeper into yourself.
Is there a poem that I know I'm asking, like, pick your favorite child here, but do you have one of your favorite poems that you can share with us and maybe a little bit about the story behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, the observer your soul, I think surprised me when it came through because it came through so quickly and so clearly. And it's not my shortest poem, but it's definitely one that just came through as a definite message, like this is meant to be shared. So, yeah, I think that is, one of my favorites. I know it is like a favorite child, not necessarily the favorite, but it's one that really resonates with me. The observer your soul. I see you acting and reacting, trying to do your best, sometimes feeling like you can, often feeling that is an impossible task, running this way and that, literally collapsing into bed at the end of the day. Sometimes the dreams and sleep come, often you are kept up by the leftover thoughts and concerns. I hear you, the way you speak to yourself, criticizing, overanalyzing, bringing to mind past hurts as if to relive them once more would be punishment enough, and maybe this time you could let them go. Words from family, community, teachers, of who you should be, and if you are competent enough at the roles you play, dancing through your head at all times. I feel you, triggered by past hurts, wanting release and happiness, but seeing it as something to attain, not possibly something you could step into now. I feel your eagerness and deep want for things to get better, but you get caught in the how and old patterns, habits, and addictions that have soothed you up until now. I sense you, the uneasiness, the discontent mixed in with the moments of joy, the guilt if you were happy for too long, since so many others are suffering. Shouldn't you be suffering too? Your mind repeats to you, who are you to have a life of never ending joy? You are uniquely you with gifts the world has never seen, waiting to be expressed as only you can. And the universe and me, your soul and higher self, support that. If you could see through my eyes, you would see how perfect it all is. The joy and especially the hard lessons learned that sculpted you into who you are today. I was here all along, feeling your emotions, the pain, the joy, all you have encountered, watching, waiting for you to ask for guidance, while sitting in non-judgment. I was here when you were at your lowest, knowing it was temporary, and the lessons you learned would be priceless. I was cheering you on in the moments of pride, joy, love, and bliss, knowing these could be what you truly lived from. I was listening to you speak to yourself, whispering words of encouragement. Sometimes you would sense this, but many times you were too distracted to hear. I sensed your trepidation as things began to go right, the lack of self-worth creeping in, your guilt at feeling you might be leaving people and situations behind. It was comfy in your comfort zone, even if it was truly, deeply uncomfortable, and you have been feeling the itch for true change for quite some time. You deserve to see yourself as the divine, perfect being you are. You deserve to speak to yourself as your truest and closest friend. You deserve to feel confident and that you truly do deserve a life of bliss. You deserve to heal past wounds and habits and live from that healed space. You deserve to sense this guidance and support that is truly always here for you. You deserve the life of your dreams, and I and the universe are here to support you. Always and forever, it is our honor and privilege. Thank you for being exactly the person you are and for giving yourself permission to step into the most beautiful version of yourself. I love you unconditionally, and I'm rooting for you endlessly because I see you and I know who you truly are.
Wow. That's a mic drop on that. And I mean, if we go back and just kind of work on one section at a time of the poem, I mean, it really has such profound lessons in it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is the fact that we, we do with all our senses, we kind of abuse ourselves, we repeat things over and over to ourselves. We put our focus on the things that we dislike about ourselves instead of all the ways we're beautiful. So really feeling that connection, giving ourselves that permission to feel that and love ourselves for our gifts and our strong points instead of beating ourselves up for the things that we're working on or learning or experiencing.
How do you balance addressing like painful topics like abuse and grief with offering messages of hope and renewal in your poetry?
I have a poem in here about my abuser, and it is a part of life. Like we've all undergone challenges, and I know so many people that have been trapped in a past trauma. And, I don't mean to belittle it at all, but if we stay there, we are kind of letting that other person win more. Hurt people hurt people. If you were hurt by someone, guaranteed they were not a happy, well-adjusted person at that time. So really giving ourselves permission to forgive, process, not forgive that it's okay that that person did that to us, but forgive in the sense that, you know what, I'm not going to let this take my energy anymore. And I've spent way too many hours thinking about this. I've spent way too many hours trying to process this. And I'm going to free myself now, knowing that that person was probably hurting too. Doesn't forgive it, but I'm going to give myself permission to move on. And really, forgiveness is such an important part of this journey, and forgiveness of ourselves, just like that poem too, what we focus on really expands. And if we focus on the ways we've succeeded and all we've made it through, it really gives us those emotions of empowerment instead of disempowerment.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Jenny Garufi in regards to her new book, Soulful Alchemy, Transformative Poems for the Soul. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Have you dreamt of writing your own book but felt lost on where to start? Introducing DIYbook.us, your personal guide to bringing stories to life. Whether it's your life story, business insights, or unique experiences, DIYbook.us makes it easy and affordable. With our step-by-step online program, you'll receive a weekly email prompt tailored to you. Don't let your story go untold. Visit www.DIYbook.us and start your writing journey today with our free 7-day trial. DIYbook.us, where your story comes to life.
It's one thing to become attached to your perfect home, but what do you do when that home becomes attached to you? A family in dire need of a fresh start, a mysterious house tied to the past. Buried deep within the foundation of the old Far Hill Manor lies a centuries-old secret. Dark forces or something stronger just waiting to be discovered. Caretaker, a supernatural thriller by breakout authors R.J. Halpert.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special, when you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
Are you a coffee lover who wants to make a difference? Look no further than Fire Department Coffee, a veteran-owned business that gives back to support first responders in need. Each batch of coffee is freshly roasted right here in the USA by a dedicated team of first responders and coffee experts. So when you enjoy a cup of Fire Department coffee, you're not only drinking high-quality coffee, you're supporting members of your community. Start your day with a coffee that gives back. Visit firedepartmentcoffee.com. That's fire, D-E-P-T, coffee.com.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest, Jenny Garufi, who's sharing with us her new book, Soulful Alchemy, Transformative Poems for the Soul. Do you think that, especially your poetry is as profound as it is, that this helps us with our own feelings of self-worth?
Yes, I really do. Again, the last poem, the poem I read is an example of that. Where are you focusing your attention? We can all change this. It doesn't matter if you've been beating yourself up hours a day, every day up until this point. You can consciously choose to do differently, to speak differently to yourself. And when we believe that we deserve more, we can start attracting more. When we start loving ourselves, we start attracting loving relationships and relationships that reflect that love back to us, situations that reflect that back to us. But it really is that permission and really that owning that self-worth that gives us that permission to move forward on our journey in a healthy way.
Can you share with us about the free online class that you have, the 5 critical tools to reclaim and maintain your inner peace, and how that works with your poetry?
Sure. Yeah, I believe in easy tools, just like I feel like my poems are easy tools. You read one, you get a little reflection, maybe you do a little journaling. The 5 critical tools to regain peace, it's 2 weeks and you get 5 days of different tools to use, and they're all quick and easy tools. I believe that when we have these easy tools, like we need this huge toolbox because we become like little kids. Another thing I'll have my clients do in the beginning is write down 10 tools or 10 things they could do that brings them joy. And really to have this, it's so important because we'll be like, you know what? I don't want to go out in nature right now, or I don't want to do this tool right now. I don't want to sit down and read a poem right now. So to have all these different tools, it's such a support system for us. because when we get in that mood, we can be like, okay, well, I have 20 tools to choose from. One will resonate right now and go to that. And really, that is my goal when I work with clients. Just give them a whole bunch of tools, poems, these tools that are in this short class that really can be gone to, you can go to it. And like, if you have 5 minutes, you can go to it and switch your mood up and switch your vibration up. Because when we do that, we're honoring ourselves. We're telling ourselves we're worthy of that time, that 5-10 minutes we're spending. And we could switch our whole energy around and switch our day and just give ourselves that compassion and that permission to have a much better day and much more peaceful life.
I know so many people are really struggling with a low sense of self-worth. I know you have so many other great tools. I'd love for you to share them with us now about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is the Self-Worth Now program that I'm part of that really emphasizes self-worth. It's 26 days of self-worth tools. Self-worth is so many different things. Self-worth is, how do you set boundaries? A lot of people set unhealthy boundaries around relationships. We teach people how to treat us. If we've told someone that we're always there for them, to complain to call 10 times a day, and they will continue to do that. So really setting healthy boundaries in relationships is important. Looking at, who am I spending the most time around? Self-worth is also, how is your environment? Are you living in a, cluttered environment? That really hinders the energy that we're allowed to experience. Self-worth is about our daily care. How do we take care of ourselves? Are we making time for ourselves? Are we just running on the hamster wheel and not giving ourselves that time? So I love the Self-Worth Now program because it gives 26 different days, and each day is so many different ways of incorporating that. There's frequencies to listen to, there's a mantra to say, there's a little paragraph about that aspect of self-worth. There's a yoga pose to do. So it's really important to integrate this into ourselves, really tell ourselves, you know what, I am worthy in all these different ways, because so many times, we've been living decades telling ourselves in so many ways we're not worthy, whether we're repeating something from a parent or repeating something from a past relationship, repeating something a teacher or a boss told us. So really, it's this conscious redoing and relearning of the fact that, no matter what anyone has said, no matter what our experience is, we've learned from it and we know we are worthy, and we are inviting in the best version of our life and fully stepping into it joyfully.
I understand it's also a community at selfworthnow.com.
Yes, it is. And so there are 8 energy workers, including myself and my partner, Jim, that are sending energy every day. Really, anyone that's involved in the program, we are sending out positive vibes, just picturing them in their highest self. We all say a little quantum entanglement prayer for that person every day for everyone in the program. And on the site, we also offer things within the blog, tools. We're going to keep releasing tools and different things to really keep that self-worth going, because, once you finish the 26-day program, really just keeping those little bits of inspiration, knowing that you can dip into the community. And if you're feeling okay, maybe I'm going a little backwards today, or maybe I need a little boost today, you can go to the community and receive that support.
I think that's so nice to have, is to have that community. And I wanted to thank you too, because I understand when people go to selfworthnow.com, there's a 50% discount that's offered when they enter the code LOVE.
Yes. And I love that. And it's perfect for your show, Marianne, because I feel like your show is all about embracing that love. And so if you go to selfworthnow.com and enter in love in the coupon code, you get 50% off. And the beautiful thing about Self-Worth Now is when you sign up, you get to gift it to someone else too. So that's such a beautiful gift. You can go through the program together, just gift it to someone that you feel maybe can use a little bit of self-love and self-worth.
Do we pay one fee and that's it?
There's one fee for the course. And then if you want to receive energy every month after, there's a slight fee of a couple of dollars if you wanted to opt into that too.
How empowering is that? That's such a I mean, right now where everyone's gotten huge monthly fees for this, that, and the other, it's nice to be able to be part of a community where you can do it and it's reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we want it to be accessible to everyone. We know that most people do struggle with self-worth and some level, whether it's in business or in relationships or, body image or whatever it is. So we really want to be able to offer that support and help people keep moving forward. We want people to be able to embrace the highest version of themselves and share their gifts. The world needs everyone just feeling empowered, sharing their gifts with one another.
So many people have difficulty stepping into their higher expression of themselves. My goodness, it's such a blessing to have selfworthnow.com and your book, Soulful Alchemy, to provide people with a roadmap on how to move into that direction.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a roadmap. Both are roadmaps. And again, during this time, I do feel like we need those tools and need that support too. No, we're not alone. There are other people that are struggling with self-worth. There are other people that can use these words to just really integrate it into them and feel that love and connection.
So, with both, how do we integrate these insights from both the poetry and selfworthnow.com into our lives on a daily practice?
Think it really means taking a little bit of time for yourself. We have no problem saying, okay, let me take this half hour or hour to watch, binge Netflix or something. And while that might offer some, turning off the brain relief, it really doesn't offer that introspection and that deeper sense of peace and moving you forward. So giving yourself 20 minutes a day, maybe reading one of my poems and doing the Self-Worth Now lessons, they don't take long. But it's telling yourself, you know what, I'm showing up for myself. And that really will show in your life. You're going to start to feel the difference. You're going to start to feel more at peace, more at ease. If we are only in our mind and we're not really connecting with that higher part of us, we really can become very trapped and overwhelmed and feeling disempowered. But when we do stop and use some of these tools and give ourselves that love and compassion, really it opens up like a whole new world. We will meet people more aligned with us. We're going to find situations and synchronicities happening that are just moving us forward in an easier way. Life becomes more in flow. So just giving yourselves that 10, 20 minutes, even if it's during your lunch break or it's in the morning as you're sipping your tea or coffee, like really, when can you give yourself those little moments of time? It doesn't have to be hours meditating a day, but if you integrate even like 2 10-minute windows of time during the day to do these practices, it can really start to change your life pretty quickly.
I love that. And who doesn't have 10 minutes a day? I mean, if it's not like at the time when we're having our tea and coffee first thing in the morning, or just having even in the shower, or maybe when we're driving, I would think
Yeah.
that being able to spend that time for something that really empowers us would be such a great thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's always these little windows of time and they are so very powerful. Yeah, I mean in the shower to say one of the mantras from Self-Worth Now, when you're drinking your coffee, to read a poem. There are all these, and even before bed to read a poem and to kind of set in that intention, like, okay, I'm going to like dream about this and integrate this into myself, during the nighttime. There's so many little windows of time, where we can put down our phone and not scroll on TikTok or do something like that or check Facebook, but really just take that time for ourselves.
How I've been using this is I'll read like one sonnet section of the book of your poetry and really kind of resonate with that throughout the day because there's so much there to be had. And a lot of times I think being able to meditate or just keep this one section in mind is really helpful throughout my day. I mean, the one I like a lot is Love Begins Within. And that one I pretty much have plastered in everywhere,
Oh, and I love that, Marianne. It's so nice hearing people's favorite poems because they're, I had someone tell me yesterday, Sisters and Brothers was there. So I love hearing, the different ones and how they're resonating with people. That just fills my heart.
Well, I do want to touch on another aspect of the great work that you do. And I think I want to take this in little bites. So, Akashic Records, what's that?
Whew. It is the record of everything, all our lifetimes, all our relationships, all the places on the planet. It's basically like the big database of the universe. And I've been doing Akashic record readings for I think about 18 years now. And it can give a soul profile of someone, like who we are at soul level. So a lot of times when I do those readings, it's like those confirmations and validations. Oh, that's why I'm like that. And that's why I react to this way, and primary life lesson. And then some of the clearing work I do, if it's personal, it's about asking what blocks and restrictions are stopping this person from advancing on their spiritual path this time. And it's energy, just like we can move energy with gratitude and with some of the tools we were talking about. We can move energy with the Akashic records, usually a little faster through the Akashic records, because we're asking to remove contracts, karma, hooks, cords to other people. We're really asking for that energetically to be removed and transmuted. And it can really excel people quicker, a lot quicker on their spiritual path. Sometimes it allows for physical healing. And with the property clearings, properties have memories. Like especially in the United States, if something was built on Native American land and it wasn't really blessed and honored when it was built upon, you're going to have some not so happy energy there. If a house was built and the first people that were in it or the last people that were in it before you were fighting all the time, or were maybe, dependent on drugs, or there was negative energy in there, or you were fighting about the house, that energy gets stuck in the house. So I love doing property clearings because I recently did one for a family whose daughter was experiencing, she was this like superstar in soccer, and she always had bad luck, would always get like injured the day before. And she was seeing spirits in parts of the house and very scared to go to parts of the house too, just very energetically sensitive. And after a reading, just felt like kind of reborn and able to go to those parts of the house and not feeling anxiety anymore. So we don't recognize how much sometimes these energies in our home are affecting us until we get a clearing and we're like, oh, wow, I feel lighter now. And the same is true with the personal clearing. It just gives us another layer of healing, just like the other work that we were talking about does. Just maybe does it a little faster without doing that like 3D work on analyzing everything. It's just this freeing up of energy. And I always give my clients a 21-day prayer to say afterwards, which is really themselves saying, you know what, I'm ready to be free of this. And that really allows healing to integrate pretty quickly.
Well, I think that makes perfect sense compared to, we wash our car, we take care of cleaning the house. So why wouldn't we also look at making sure that the property that our house is on, or our apartment's on, or what have you, is being cleared?
Absolutely. And I've seen it help with house selling, houses selling. I've seen it help with so many different things, especially like when people, even sicknesses, like if there is a history of sickness in a property, just helps to switch that energy up. And one of the things I'll do when I do a property clearing is ask what qualities that person wants imbued into their property. So maybe it is health, joy, love, abundance. Doesn't hurt to do that either. Like really spilling love and gratitude in the property. And something everyone can do is really pay gratitude for our place that we live. We can tend to, again, just like our bodies, focus on what's wrong. Oh, the leaky faucet. Oh, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. But we're kind of sending negative energy to our property instead of saying, you know what, I'm so grateful I have a safe apartment or home to live in. I'm so grateful I'm safe from the environment outside, when it's raining or snowing. Just really focusing that gratitude on the property also helps to clear some of that negative energy.
We need really clear and clean places that we reside in, we work in, we spend most of our time in.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I work from home, so that's even more so.
I know. When's the last time we had an appointment? And we need to book another one. Oh my goodness. Well, and to kind of piggyback on that, so how does the Akashic Records help us? Because I know you do clarity readings with the Akashic Records. So what does that look like?
So that is really honing in. Say we have some kind of repeated pattern. Why do I keep why do I keep attracting these unhealthy men into my life or something like that? Why do I keep getting this job where I have an abusive boss? There can be some kind of pattern or karma or something stuck in place. So the Akashic Clarity reading can really grant clarity on why that is happening. And then I offer tools to shift that energy to really invite in something new.
Okay, well, I know that you stay pretty busy, so I'm sure everyone's kind of, going to their phones and their computers to try to make an appointment with you right now. Because that's a big thing. I mean, when we look at, everyone, almost everyone I've talked to has seen patterns or just different things that are showing up that are very similar within their life. And to get clarity on that, what a big deal that is.
Yeah, and again, I love the Akashic Records because it can be like a belief that's in our subconscious that we don't even recognize is there, but it's repeating over and over again. So when we gain clarity on that, it's such power to be like, you know what, I'm consciously choosing not to believe this, and I'm going to say a little prayer to clear this because I'm ready to invite in new energy.
So, how does this all benefit one another? How does Soulful Alchemy, Self Worth Now, and the Akashic reading clearings and the house clearings, how does that all benefit one another?
It's really about freeing ourselves to be the highest version of ourselves, giving ourselves that permission to step into our power. As you mentioned before, sometimes we can hesitate to do that. We've seen power misused. We've seen that word power can even cause, us to feel uncomfortable. And then there's the imposter syndrome. And then there's the fact that if we step forward, there are so many people, that will be saying things about us. We can't please everyone. And as a recovering perfectionist and recovering people pleaser, I relate, but owning our self-worth, really doing this deep work, that the poems allow in this clearing, doing the Akashic work, that all frees us. It really just gets us more connected to our soul. That really is about what I feel life is about, really connecting with our soul on that deep level, embracing our gifts so we could just kind of shine our light and really help those people around us. We all have different gifts. That's the beautiful part. We're all so different and have these different abilities to show and shine with one another. So I feel like all of these tools that I use really just allow us to give ourselves that permission to step forward.
So, if we're having right now difficult or relationships that are less than harmonious, going and doing all of this will help us kind of get into right path.
Absolutely. Really owning that self-worth allows you to reset healthy boundaries. Sometimes we're so focused in relationships too on what we don't, what what is annoying us about that person, that it's hard to remember why we love that person. Even going into gratitude for that person, remembering why you have that relationship with that person. There are so many different tools we can use to really rebalance relationships. I've worked with people to rekindle love that, they thought was long gone. And I've also worked with people that needed to kind of give themselves permission to move on from a relationship where both parties weren't happy, because that's not healthy either. If both are self-sacrificing and feel like they're settling and not allowing each other and themselves to step into a relationship that is really aligned with their highest good. So, but it doesn't always mean leaving relationships. Sometimes it's redefining boundaries. Instead of spending a lot of time with someone, you'll spend a little less time. Sometimes instead of visiting family for a week during the holidays, you'll visit for 2 days. Sometimes it's just this rebalancing, but in owning this self-worth and really getting rid of that people pleasing, but really knowing you're the most important person to please, not in a selfish way, but in a filling yourself up way. if you fill yourself up with love, that love is gonna spill over into other people, and your relationships are gonna be much more harmonious. So all of these things do help to create better relationships in your life. I just married the love of my life. We've been together 10 years and the relationship keeps getting better and better. And I have healthy relationships with my kids and his kids. Like, I know that this is possible, but it does take a little bit of work, but why wouldn't you want to be the best version of yourself, instead of repeating the past things over and over again? But only you can really give yourself that permission.
So where can people go to learn more about the work you do with the Akashic readings, property clearing, your book Soulful Alchemy, and of course, Self-Worth Now?
So Self-Worth Now is that, selfworthnow.com, and you can enter the code LOVE in again to get a 50% discount. My website is where my offerings and clearings are. That's Jenny Garufi, JennyGarufi.com. And then for Soulful Alchemy, Marianne, I'm very happy to offer your listeners from July 12th to July 15th the Kindle version of my book for free. So you can go to Amazon and grab that. And then, there's a paperback version of it on there as well, but Amazon is exclusively where I'm offering my book right now. And the Kindle version is free from the 12th through the 15th for your listeners.
How exciting is that? Well, thank you. I'm so excited that we get to do that for our listeners, have your book free for download. Soulful Alchemy. What a great book. I'm old school, so I like to purchase the book and hold on to it and write in it. That's how I usually roll. And this is actually a book that I felt that was something that I could do, because there's so much that came up for me in reading your book. It really, it's very much a personal journey.
Yeah, I think it is. There's lots of white space in there, There's space in the back. It's funny, as I got my hard copy too, I've been going through it and writing in it too. So I definitely agree. It is a book to do that. You can also use it as almost like a journal as well.
Lots of reference points for that. Well, Jenny, my goodness, you're such an inspiration. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you so much, Marianne, to you and your listeners. I'm so grateful to have reconnected with you for this, and I'm sending you and your listeners so much love.
Well, thank you, Jenny. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Soulful Alchemy, Transformative Poems for the Soul. Make sure to visit selfworthnow.com to claim 50% off when you use the code LOVE. And start your empowerment journey today. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.